Thank you for joining us for this chat with Father Andrew about our parish's recent journey through the Synod process. I'm Jane Kerrigan-Galis, and I'm a parishioner here at St. Augustine's. I'm a member of parish council and a parent at the school, and like many of you, I took part in the Synod process. But whether you took part in it or whether you didn't, we'd like to have a chat with Father Andrew about what Synod is and what is happening because of it. So Father Andrew, what exactly is a Synod?
Well, Synod is a gathering of people in the church, and so traditionally every 3 years the Pope calls actually on the clergy first of all to come together and to see where we are as a church, what we have to do, discern our ways of doing things, and so that's what it is, a basic gathering of people. But this one is actually a slightly different one because it's a synodality, which is actually two words put together, which adds a different dimension to the synod, which means actually a journey. So it's gathering people who gathered, who are journeying together, being inspired by the Holy Spirit to accomplish certain missions in responding to the needs of the church around.
So, Father, why did Pope Francis decide to call on parishes and Catholics around the world to take part in this process?
Well, the world is changing, okay? We've experienced all kinds of new situations and events, not to mention the pandemic and other things, wars, struggles, scandals, all kinds of things. And so those events call on the church to basically find new ways of trying to solve them or help, the situation. And so that's why the Pope is calling on a synod to address the ways that we can journey as people of God. So this is actually a very special, unique synod because, first of all, usually the synods are around a month long. This one is 2 years long. And what it is, he is inviting everybody to participate in it. Not just the top, but everyone. So everybody's voice is important, and everybody is invited actually to take part in it. That's why it's so special, and that's why it will take 2 years to complete it.
During the Synod process, people signed up to take part in conversation circles to address a lot of questions, ranging from what helps or prevents you from being active in the church's mission, to what are we neglecting and what do we need to pay more attention to, and how can we, the local church, journey along with our Indigenous brothers and sisters in this process of healing and reconciliation. So what happened during these talking circles?
Well, as the name says, talking circles, people gather to talk and to listen. And that's the important part. They were not to create an argument settings or something like that, but basically for people to come together and to hear the other person and then also be able to share his or her own story as well in a very peaceful way. So that's the important part of it. It was not to create an issues. This is just to hear what others have to say and how they see things. And then they actually had the chance to repeat what they heard. So this is not just kind of talking, but others were also invited to say what I heard from that person as that person was talking. So this is a complete dialogue, really, and that's how it's supposed to really be. That's why the Pope called for that new way of doing things, that when we can actually hear the other person, but also be able to share our thoughts, our concerns, our hopes, dreams, and journey together in that way.
Our parish held 26 sessions with 106 people taking part, 70 women, 36 men. What did we learn about our parish during the Synod process?
Well, quite a bit, actually, and that was the great thing, that it was a great tool for us too, not just for the church in general, but also for the parish, because we used it as our planning sessions as well, what we as a parish want to do, in the future, and how we can fit in the global picture of the church out there. And so we used that opportunity actually to see where we as St. Augustine actually can be and what our role is in the main big church out there, which is very massive. We are small, yet important. As the synodal process tells us, everybody matters, so St. Augustine matters as well, okay? And so we have our place in the whole picture, and we learn a lot how we actually can fulfill what we're supposed to do as St. Augustine's to complement the mission of the Church globally.
The term active service came up a lot in our responses. What do you take from that?
The Church is a living body, and it's composed of people who want to be part of it. And that's the key to the whole thing. I want to be part of the Church, not because I have to, but because I want to. And if that is my attitude, well, then I want to participate actively to make sure that we grow and we journey and we do the mission or fulfill the mission that's given to us to accomplish. I mean, every parish has a specific tasks to accomplish, and so people who are part of it are called to participate in that mission by, helping out, in our liturgical services, social justice issues, learning, faith formation, young adults, children programs. So we are called to create a community, and we can only do it if we have active members. It won't happen on its own. We have to have people who are concerned about, our well-being and who want to help and respond to those needs around us.
There were also concerns about youth and how we are not engaging them enough in the Church and keeping them in the Church, as well as inclusion.
Yeah, and that's the topic that comes quite often. We are all concerned about the young people and not seeing them as much as we would like to see them. There's a lot of competition going, and we have to acknowledge that as well. So in order to actually invite them, we have to provide certain things that will speak to them and will help them grow. That's, again, the synodality would be very helpful, and is very helpful because it calls, first of all, for the young adults or young people to tell us, okay, what's important for them, and not just us telling them what we think they should be doing. And that's actually the key to the whole thing, being inclusive, finding what the groups that are part of us, what their needs are, what they would like to do, what's important for them and to them, and then finding ways to respond to it. So the young adults, other groups, we need to hear them first, and then we can actually respond to it together, though. Not just kind of, hear them and then prepare something and this is yours. No, this is actually something that we need to do together. And so there are already signs of that happening, that, the young adults are gathering and others are gathering, just to kind of tell us what they need, what they want, and how we can help them.
And inclusion?
Well, that's also very important. As an oblate parish, actually, that's for us, it's crucial, okay? We, as oblates, we are called to be social justice oriented and also have an open heart for everyone. Doesn't matter where people come from, what their orientation is, what their background is. We invite everyone, and we try to find ways for them to feel welcome. So it doesn't matter where somebody comes from, what group they belong to, or where their orientation is, or what their vision of life on life is. They all have a place, okay? And we want to make sure that they feel that way, that they don't have to kind of struggle to find a place. No, we want to be open enough for them to invite them and to help them find the proper place for themselves and feel welcome.
We've learned a lot about the Synod process and how many people in our parish feel about certain issues in our parish. So what are the next steps that are going to be taken?
Well, to first of all see what the responses are, and then how we can implement them. So there are concrete steps we are planning to take as a parish. First of all, we'll have our General Assembly coming up, that we will look at all those areas that were mentioned in the planning, in the process, synodal process, and all those important issues that were identified there. There are 7 of them, really main groups, and we would like to address all of them, not just 1 or 2, but all of them. And then find ways how to respond to them. So for example, how we can be more open, how we can be more welcoming, either providing like some social context to events or more spiritual context or learning, because certain issues, like even the relationship with the indigenous people, there will need to be a lot of learning in that area to understand properly, and so we can respond in a proper way. And so we'll be finding ways, concrete ways, how to respond to those issues. Also, how to provide opportunities for people to get involved. Okay, so volunteering opportunities for people in different ways. Again, as I mentioned earlier, we are an oblate parish, so certain aspects are important for us as oblates: social justice issues, indigenous relationship, young adults. Our founder was very strong on those things. And so that's what's coming up, that we will be gathering together, organizing ourselves in groups, committees, and dividing the tasks. Okay, always keeping in mind that this is still a synodal process, and it will be, and because that's the new way of, not the new way how the church is working, how the church wants to operate. And so as we go along implementing, we still have to have our ears open and hearts open actually to hear what others still are saying, because some people didn't participate. That doesn't mean that their voice shouldn't be heard. They still have a chance to do that. So as we go along, we'll still have our ears open and hearts open to actually hear some more, and how we can actually make it a better place for all our St. Augustine's parish here.
So what happens next, Father?
Well, I mean, there are two levels to the whole thing. There's the global one and the parish one. So the global one, actually, it's gathering information from all the parishes that goes to archdioceses or dioceses. Then from there go to the regional councils of churches in different countries. And then it goes finally to Rome, to the Vatican. So it's a lengthy process, and so they need to actually come from pages and pages of material to very succinct ways of presenting it. So it will be, that's the global thing. And so when the synod happens later in Rome, like the conclusion of it, they look at the main points from everywhere, looking at it globally.
Thank you, Father. And thank you for all who took part in the Synod process and are interested in it. We'll have more information about issues that arise out of the Synod and all other issues in our bulletin and on our website. Thank you.